Saturday. Christmas comes early.
Unbelievable! Welcome to this incredible scene.
Bills.
To the end zone!
Chargers.
It's a touchdown!
An exclusive NFL game.
That's fantastic!
Live in primetime.
Wow!
Only on Peacock.
With a Christmas gift to their fans.
They're having some fun now.
Bills versus Chargers. Saturday, 7:30 Eastern. Exclusively on Peacock.
This episode is brought to you by Google Pixel, the official fan phone of the NBA and WNBA. The new Pixel 8 and Pixel 8 Pro are built different. How? Take the Audio Magic Eraser tool. It helps block out distracting crowd noise so your play-by-play commentary sounds crystal clear. The only phone engineered by Google brings out the audio you care about so your videos sound as crisp as they look. Learn more at googlestore.com/pixelnba. Audio Magic Eraser requires Google Photos app. May not work on all audio elements.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. From your morning podcast to your afternoon playlist, State Farm knows you personalize your entire day, and that's why State Farm helps you personalize your insurance with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It offers coverage options that help protect what you care about most at an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
'Tis the season to shine with H&M. Discover the holiday collection and find fashionable pieces for your wardrobe or for under the tree. Get inspired and dazzle with this year's glam. From tuxedo styles, bow detailed pieces, impressive prints, and more. From unforgettable looks to unforgettable gifts. With fashion finds to home decor, find it all at H&M. Treat your loved ones and yourself this season. Shop in-store or at hm.com.
Anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking.
Back at it again with another episode of the Shades of Blue Soccer Show. Cody, Thad, and Robert. Sorry, Thad is tired of losing is his name in the chat here. We are the KC Soccer Journal. Please go subscribe, rate, and review wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Another loss, yet another loss. Back at it again with the losing ways. We're going to start with the loss to the Chicago Fire. 1-0, can't score again. But I think the big thing here for me, at least the most glaring thing for me, was that they were absolutely missing Danny Rosero. All of the set pieces, I think the corner kicks were like 7-1. There were a bunch of balls sent into the middle that were just begging to have Danny Rosero in there. Castellanos is decent in the air. It looks like I think they kind of go for him a little bit. But, yeah, the tenacity that we were talking about was definitely missing from him. And on the back line as well, I think, in dealing with Kai Kamara. They needed another big body in there that was able to do that against Kai. Daniel was very quiet again. That's 2 games in a row that, there's a lot of peaks and valleys with Daniel. I think we're kind of in a valley at the moment. He had some good moments. There was a really good touch to get himself in, but we just, the star player, I've said this before, we just kind of need more from the star player right now. Remy Walter was very good. Remy Voltaire, I did it. Every time I see it, if I read Walter, I say Walter. Remy was very good in this game. I think probably the best on the field for us. And then the other thing I have is that Alan Pulido has just kind of come back down to earth. It was a tough game for, I think, everybody out there. Alan had some bad touches, some bad passes, and where I think in the last games where he's been on fire, those have turned into opportunities. So, yeah, Thad, my big one there is Danny Rosero. Where are you at? I know you're tired of losing at home.
I would love to have Rosero in there, but I would love to go back to the days when we had Kai Kamara and Aurelian Collin win every single header into every box, whether it was on offense or defense.
Is that what it is? Was I just so spoiled from those two for so long? Is that why this just feels... Sporting might not even be that much worse than other teams at this, but yeah, I think you're right. I think that's what it is. We were spoiled for so long, and now they can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't go look at a stat on this, but I would swear that those two won 99% of every ball that came into the box, whether it was, and not that it went on goal or not that it was a perfect out, but they were always on. One of them at one side of the box, one at the other side of the box, they would win everything.
Robert, where are you at for the loss last night?
Boy, Kamara Rosero battle would have been interesting to see.
I know.
I think we would have seen some personality, if you will, jump out of both of those with those two clashing. So we kind of missed that part of it too, the entertainment part. But hey, I looked up the stats. We're 1-2-2 for the month of June after that hot May. So I don't know what the term is, June swoon. I don't know what it is, but I think we have some heavy legs from the Heat as well, and playing all the games that we have. So I think that's definitely
that may be
out.
true, but that's tough shit, quite honestly. Because
I agree.
Chicago played the same amount of games. They came to play in the Heat, and they should not be as used to the Heat as Sporting is. Because if there's lots of excuses that could be made. There's lots of things, but just tired from the heat and the travel. Be friggin' ass. That's games that could be. There's games that they could have used that in. Not this one.
A tough shit.
Hey, I was just throwing out justifications that people might have, man. I didn't say I agreed.
Thad got antsy on that one. A tough shit from him. But no, I think it is because he saw it as well. There were heavy legs. You could see it on the field last night. That is a definite concern there. Robert, what about Kendall McIntosh? I know there was a conversation in our Slack last night. We don't have David in the chat. David in the chat might be joining, but he was ranting a bit last night about McIntosh. Are you McIntosh out as well?
Yeah. David's quote, I think he's okay with me quoting him. Awful, McIntosh sucks. And then Kuhn piped in and said, yeah, I'm done with McIntosh. Goalkeepers are supposed to make saves that, kind of win you points. And McIntosh hasn't been doing that. I've been watching McIntosh's kind of positioning and his footwork. That first goal, that was a tough one because, Fontes plays it right back in the middle of the box. Tough to defend against that. But McIntosh was not positioned with his feet very well, so he could react very quick. It wasn't even that far from him.
Thank you.
The second goal, he was out of position as well. He takes these very small steps to get in position, and it just takes him a little bit longer because of that to get into position. And then I even went back to the LA Galaxy game where he got chipped, and he was just totally out of position on that one too. So that's the angle that I'm looking at. But he has not won us any points that I can recall.
That little foot shuffle. Again, I will admit ignorance here. I didn't ever go through keeper training. I never learned how to be a keeper. I am just simply a keeper hater for everyone out there. But no, the little foot shuffle, I think, is something that keepers are taught in order. It's like kind of just the whole thing of like staying on your toes. You're able to jump in any direction whenever the ball does come. And this goal, like you said, how it was not that far from him is why that bothers me that keepers always do that. They're always ready and almost assuming they're going to have to dive. And he went into to a diving motion and it just isn't what the shot came in. And yeah, I don't know. Thad, do you know anything about keeper training? Is that part of it where they're supposed to do that little bounce right before so they know where to jump?
Sometimes, yeah. I'm not totally sure about that little bounce exactly, but good keepers are trained to be ready to go either direction. And I just gotta go back for a second. What second goal, Robert? The first goal was the one that came across, bounced off Fontes.
I was gonna let it slide. Thank you, Thad.
Oh,
I love it.
I was probably confusing the LA Galaxy goal. I'm sorry.
Okay, just making sure I didn't miss something, man, because I was like,
that.
I did not see all of the game live, so I
right.
saw part of it. I wrote the recap.
He did allow a second one. It just was disallowed. So
fair. I was just making sure.
Yeah.
I did not see that goal live, so I went back and watched it, and I was maybe not as harsh about it as some people. I don't want to. I'm not a hater on any of the keepers at this moment. And Kendall is good at certain things, and he's not as good as other keepers in certain things. He's not a bad shot stopper. He's usually decent at all of that. This goal, though, the guy came in and crossed it right across from pretty close range, where I'm not saying he couldn't have got down to do something with it, but it wasn't a shot. So he covered the near post, which is what you need. and that ball went across, hit Fontes off the foot. Meanwhile, Kindle's going across towards the middle, and it's a shot from basically the penalty spot, roughly, and one timed in. And I don't know that any keeper can be counted on to make that save through a little bit of traffic. So I'm not blaming him on that one. It wasn't any of them's fault, except maybe the guys coming from midfield that should have covered the runners coming in to the box.
Yeah, I know I was picking apart that goal a little bit, but it's not even that one is so bad that it's like, oh, get him out of there now. We've talked about it on here for weeks now, where if it's between these two keepers, Pulskamp and McIntosh, one of them is thought to be the guy for the future, and if the difference between them is negligible at the moment, why not just go for the guy that you want to be the man of the future? Pulskamp just played for SKC2. That game just ended, and I've already forgot. Was it a 1-1 draw? I think is how that game ended. I already forgot.
It was, and it would have went to the penalties after for draws, and I have not seen the score.
That's
yet.
right. Yeah, I said a draw. I turned it off as it was going into the PKs. So he is doing something right now. I'm just going to assume that Pulskamp killed it, and it's going to work perfectly for this segment that we're doing here. Okay. Any other?
Well, they did earn the extra point in the shootout.
Okay.
There you go.
Good.
Well, the other thought is, Vermees likes to go with the hot hand. Well, after a 1-2-2 June, I don't think McIntosh is the hot hand anymore.
That's valid. I think that is how what the defense was. He goes with the hot hand, even if McIntosh maybe wasn't performing that good. It's just if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And now it seems maybe a little not broken, but things are not going that well. Any other thoughts from this game, you guys? We're going to talk about Kyrie Shelton here in the next segment, and then Alan Pulido a little bit later. But Thad, any other takes on this game?
Just generically, I mean, like everybody, you already said about they looked like they had tired legs, which isn't an excuse. They didn't look up to par. Johnny Russell should be not starting at this point. It would have been better to start Jean-Yves or somebody else. Actually, loved the guy and have been a big fan of his, but he is not performing right now either. Everybody has just kind of went cold in every which way.
Yeah,
I just don't want them to drop back into that mentality of where they were in April, I guess.
And it felt a little bit like that. It was, where's the creativity going to come from? Who's going to do it? There was one, Daniel had a big breakaway at one point. I think he did the smart thing in slowing it down, but you could see in every touch it was just a little more hesitant than he may have been before, where he just would have been darting towards goal. And then, he passes it off and Jake gets it, and then the pass doesn't work, and it felt like the beginning of the season again, this game, where just nobody knew exactly what to do. And then, like I said, Pulido kind of came back down to earth, and the few key touches he had, with his back to the goal, the pass just didn't go to the right guy. And I think the month where they were doing really well, those were turning into something.
Well, if anybody has any excuse for being a little bit not perfectly 90 fit for 3 games in a week in the heat, it would be Allen. I'm still not really going to give him too much slack on that. But I mean, from what I saw, I don't think he had a terrible game, but it just wasn't at his best. But that can be so much the other people around you. So
it's 3. Robert, you mentioned the whole month of June here so far.
Yeah.
Let's just looking at the last 3 games are the ones that it seems like they've fallen back down to earth a little bit here. But I don't know that they are that bad. I think part of it, we didn't actually give Chicago any credit in this one. I think that they did really well. I think that their defense did really well in this game. You could have a shout for like their game plan maybe outdid Vermees's game plan. A bunch of empty possession, and they were absolutely fine with that and turned that into more chances than Sporting did. But it doesn't. There were moments, like I said, that felt like the beginning of the season, but it's not like the month didn't happen at all of them doing really well. and you can still see the value in the team. And I think maybe they're not the best team in the West like they were for a month straight. I think we've learned that, but I think we also now know that they are not the pitiful, awful, horrible team that they were at the beginning of the season. And I think
there's some people on Facebook that would disagree with you.
Right. Yeah, and that's why I led off with Rosario there, because I think the team does look very different without his big bruising body in there.
Well, if you want to look at the numbers, I mean, there are, 2 or 3 teams below us right now. We have played 21 matches.
This is the last segment. You're skipping ahead, but go on.
Okay. All right. I was just going to throw some facts out at you.
I just wanted to get you there. Yeah, definitely keep going. I was just messing with you.
Yeah, so we played 21. Minnesota is tied with us. They've played 18 matches. That's 3 in hand. LA Galaxy has played 3. Even if they win all 3 of theirs, they could be 3 points ahead of us. Colorado is the only team that's they're at the very bottom, and they could not catch us with their games in hand. So that's nice to know. But games in hand, we could be in 13th right now.
Yeah, and there's only 2 teams that have a lower points per game than we do.
Yeah.
But that being said, still just like a couple points away from everything. MLS going MLS, right, Thad?
Yeah, no, very true. But to take advantage of that, you have to win at home. I don't care if they lose on the road, man. That kind of sucks, but that's life, right? But you got to win at home. You have to make it. That was what was fun about May, man. 3 goals, 4 goals a game. They were winning. That was fun. You didn't get a couple results on the road, so be it. But you got to make the home fans happy. You got to get the results at home. I'm tired of losing at home.
Yeah, win at home, draw on the road. We drew on the road twice, just no wins.
Honestly, if you just win at home, man, you make the playoffs. If you just win at home, you make the playoffs at this point with 9 of them going.
Yeah.
So, got to win at home.
Dad's tired of losing at home.
I think I've said that somewhere before. The going to the offense last night, I know it's a common thing for Sporting to go wide and try to cross it in, and it's not a invalid way of playing. It's a little predictable at times. But one of the quotes from Peter last night, he said I think we were just impatient, to be honest with you. I think from the get-go, we were impatient. We were trying to do everything in 2 and 3 passes. And like I said, when you get in the other team's half, you work hard to get the ball in the final third. Now all of a sudden you get there and you're moving the ball a little bit, and all of a sudden you take a shot from 35 yards out. You're not scoring from there. I'm telling you. I kind of feel like, again, I'll be honest, I did not watch all 90 plus minutes of that game last night because I saw it in chunks. But I felt that there were times where they were impatient and they tried to take a shot that they didn't need to. But there was also shots where they were too freaking patient. Like, okay, I'm going to hold up a little bit instead of I'm going to just try to make that turn and make that shot and hope that, and then crash the box with a couple players and make something happen. So it felt like, I don't want to say every decision was wrong, but a lot of those decisions were either they kept it too long or they took it too early. There wasn't the right choice in there.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And on the other side of that, I think something I noticed, this was maybe more in the Galaxy game, that just our system, we've talked about how we live and die by the Vermees system. And I think it is designed to where if a team executes something perfectly, then it's going to work. Like they're going to score a goal. But it's the system is like almost challenging because it's just aware that it's a team in MLS and that it's challenging a team to make every single pass perfectly. And that's why so many times when Sporting gets scored on, it just looks so easy. And it just looks like everything broke down. But I do think part of the system is it's just, if they make every single pass correct and Sporting don't get that foul right after the turnover, then the chance comes almost every time.
Well, I would say on both sides last night, it wasn't exactly a great played game. The touches were slow, the passes were slow, the ball movement wasn't very quick. So I think both teams suffered from that, but it wasn't the prettiest game in the world.
They might have suffered from both teams may have suffered from having 3 games, the travel,
Right.
the heat. and also being kind of crappy teams at the bottom of their divisions. But a little credit to Chicago. I think like we said earlier, like you got to give their defense at least some.
Oh yeah.
Under Klopas, they have, I don't want to say turned it around, but they have been consistently getting some points. Maybe that's the deal.
The holidays are a time to feel and create joy. And what could be more joyous than the look on her face as she unwraps a stunning new jewelry piece from Blue Nile? How about getting 50% off your purchase? Blue Nile offers premium quality, priced below traditional retail. Their online experts are available 24/7 to answer any questions and make sure you've picked the perfect gift. For a limited time, you can get 50% off at BlueNile.com. That's 50% off at BlueNile.com.
Reboot your credit card with Apple Card, the credit card created by Apple. It gives you unlimited daily cash back that you can now choose to grow in a high-yield savings account that's built right into the Wallet app. Apply for Apple Card now in the Wallet app on iPhone and start growing your daily cash with savings today. Apple Card subject to credit approval. Savings is available to Apple Card owners subject to eligibility requirements. Savings accounts provided by Goldman Sachs Bank USA. Member FDIC. Terms apply.
Kyrie Shelton, the substitution elicited some boos. I don't know. So I didn't watch the game live. I went back, so I heard about the boos beforehand. And I don't know if it was that many boos. There was one specific guy by the microphone on this broadcast that you could hear every single thing that he screamed loudly. And it might have just been this dude. I'm sure there were a few other boos out there. Fans are unhappy with Kyrie. But I want to go to Thad on this. Thad and his dad wisdom. I want to hear what you think of this whole situation, how you feel about fans booing a player for simply coming off of the bench.
I will admit I'm a little bit torn because I still a little bit in that, okay, you paid a ticket, you can boo if you want to. But, man, I think I have a far different attitude than when I was half this age. I don't really like booing a player. I never liked booing my own team. I admit there was a Wizard that I quite often, when he would come off the bench, I'd be like, oh, boo. But it wasn't like a big, long, sustained boo. It was more like so that the people sitting next to me would know that I did not like that guy.
Yeah, and just kind of to yourself.
Yeah, it was between me and the people that I went to the game with, kind of thing. Like, oh, boo. Like, man, I don't like that guy. But I feel bad for any player that's just getting booed coming off the bench. They may not be in the best form. They may not be the player that you want them to be. And I have zero doubt that Kyrie is out there doing his absolute best to play.
He had kind of a look in his eye a little bit at one point, like he was ready to murder somebody. He's playing with a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of wish he would destroy some guy some days, but I just don't like booing a guy who's doing his best just because you don't like the fact he subs in. If you want to say, Verbees, you suck for subbing him in, that's kind of fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, of course you can be mad about him subbing in. I think everyone is mad when Kyrie is seen on the field at this point. And everyone, as everyone has said on Twitter, his mistakes are getting magnified a little bit. He does make mistakes. And then again in this game, as I know David was somewhere screaming about it, that he didn't go up for a header or didn't even really go for a ball that landed in the box right next to him on a corner kick. So the criticism is justified, but my big problem with it is just that we're at a point as a club where fans are booing our own players, and I just hate that. I hate the look of it. I hate that other people know that that's a thing. If I saw St. Louis in this situation where their fans were booing their players, I would be eating it up. It would make me very happy. I just don't like that look. You can be mad about him. It's a thing if you're doing it in the stadium, if you're screaming it in the stadium and it is on the broadcast, and that's just what bothers me here. And Thad is right that I think a lot of people would even acknowledge that it's not even about him, that it's the frustration is with Vermees and that he's simply going into the game. So that's what sucks. I'm not scolding anyone. Not that they would care for booing. I get it. I absolutely hate that we are at this point.
Yeah, I can see other fans saying, "Oh my God, Sporting is crumbling. What a fall they've been through, right?"
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely agree with that, Cody. But no, I think a lot of it is Vermes and what he's doing, and what was the logic of putting Kyrie at right back at that moment in the game. There wasn't any to it as far as attacking. He didn't push up higher up the field or anything like that. I will defend Kyrie. That ball that people were talking about he didn't jump for was behind him.
Yeah.
So I don't know really what the purpose would have been for him jumping for it, but
You have to show the effort, Robert,
Yeah,
regardless
go
if you
for
can
it.
actually get to the ball or not.
Go for it.
yeah, well, but yeah, I think most people are frustrated with Vermes more than they are booing Kyrie.
I don't know, man. I think people have a hate on Kyrie now that is just freaking unreasonable.
Yeah, it is unreasonable. Yeah.
It is sad, unreasonable, and even if you dislike Kyrie's ability as a player, fair. I mean, I think he's better than a lot of people give him credit for, but I get that he's not doing anything to help himself right now.
Yeah,
But at the same time, he is a freaking human being.
I'll push back for Reddit there that it's also unreasonable that he's playing still, and it's unreasonable the amount of money that he's making as well. And that's why it just sucks that we're in this position. I was doing the same thing with Polito, and we're probably gonna do it again here in a little bit. It just sucks that we are in this position. This is a shitty season, and I mean, I'm happy that the team is playing better and Polito's back, and it looks like we can score goals. We're gonna have some fun this year, but we're still just we're still not in a good place. I didn't even actually put this in the thing, but something I wanted to talk about that Mike Kuhn mentioned on Twitter is the lack of youth. I turned on the Sporting KC2 game to get a look at that. There was a lot of first team players in the lineup, and there's just nothing that exciting there either. And there's also 25, 26-year-olds playing for that team. So it's not even that everyone is all that young there either. And yeah, it's the Polito situation, the Kyrie / Vermes out situation, and then a lack of youth, a lack of promise for the future. And it's just, we're not in a good place. Not in a good place right now. Any final thoughts on Kyrie, you two?
I really wish they would have not signed him in the offseason, not because I don't think he can play, but because he needed a fresh start and he didn't get it.
Yeah, I know, and that seems like the objective view that someone could have taken there. He's needed a fresh start. I don't think that he is entirely useless as a player. I think he could have played somewhere else, and I think it would have been better for both him and this team.
By far.
And with that contract signing, it makes it harder to get, have him move on too, right?
Yeah, and then there's the question of maybe it's front loaded, but the contract has to be front loaded if he's making $600,000 plus this year. But it'll be interesting.
Yeah, a lot of people look at the salary and think of it as you got to be a starter or something like that. It's a little harder to do that with nowadays because as the salaries go up, the bench player makes more money also. Vermes has been quite often a guy who spreads the money around a lot, so you in theory have a deeper team. I'm not saying it always comes to fruition, but that's technically Sporting had 5 DPs, but they were just low DPs, and some of them were paid down. Mm-hmm. So I don't worry quite as much about the salary as just the effectiveness of a guy who's a veteran.
I think that every mention of Kyrie Shelton's salary this season should come with an asterisk, and the asterisk should say, also, Roger Espinoza is making $86,000.
Hey, Kyrie may make more than Busquets in Miami, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, that is, of course, right where I went when Thad was talking about buying DPs down and all of that. It's gonna be interesting watching all of that. Also, the Busquets just seems Messi. I'm sure is gonna do great. Messi's got a lot in the tank. He just won a World Cup a few months ago.
Scored a hat trick today.
Busquets seems like one of those. It just seems his game doesn't seem like it's going to translate here. It seems like he's going to be a Pirlo or one of those guys that just comes here and kind of trots around the park, and it just doesn't translate to this tough league. Tough league.
We shall see.
Physical league is the word I was going for there.
Introducing Royal Caribbean's newest ship, Icon of the Seas, the ultimate family vacation. The ultimate 6 slides, 8 neighborhoods, 0 compromise vacation. The ultimate never done that, can't wait to do it vacation. The ultimate chillin' by a different pool every day of the week vacation. This is the Icon of vacations. Icon of the Seas, arriving in 2024. Book today. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
Okay. Mike, let's go to another Mike tweet down the byline. Always killing it because all of our writers do stuff on their own on their own Twitters instead of for the KC Soccer Journal Twitter, which you should go follow at KC Soccer Journal. But Mike,
I'm to blame. I'm to blame also, man. So
I mean, yeah, we all are. Mike at Down the Byline is always finding the Mexican reports, and he has found another one saying that Pulido will stay for the remainder of his contract this season, that Sporting KC want to sign him, and that July is when he can sign a pre-contract with somebody else. So it seems like maybe this month, the next few weeks here are crunch time where Sporting Kansas City can sign Pulido before everyone else can get in there, Robert.
Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? Is he worth keeping? I mean, he's 32 now.
Maybe
he didn't use his legs for 2 years though.
Right. I know if David was here, David would be like, nope, get rid of him.
No, I think I think you maybe were out for the maybe one or two of the Pulido talks that we've done. But I'm just at the point now where it is difficult to find someone that can score goals in this league.
Right.
We know that he can score goals in this league. We would have to spend a bunch of money to find someone else, and that someone else would be a question mark. Yes, he might be younger. There's just all that, and I've landed on just sign the guy again. We have someone that we know can score goals, and I think we should re-sign him.
And we've still got Willie Agata too. God willing, he comes back healthy, and he's what he used to be. So we've got options.
Remember, Willie is one of the streakiest guys too. He scored a bunch of goals like a couple of years ago, then went cold. Scored a bunch of goals for Sporting last year, then went cold for this year. The injury, we don't know how long that's affected him, so that's comes into play. I would so sitting there thinking, it'd be nice to have Pulido and a guy who's going to challenge him and be a slightly different player kind of thing. But that could be Willie, that could be somebody else. I don't know. And it comes down to cost. Earlier, I was saying I'm not as worried about the $600,000 for Kyrie. Is Pulido going to come back as a DP? That's more of a question mark for me right now. It's because if he does, then it's a little bit less likely we should sign him. Just because there could be somebody that could take that place it all depends on the dollar amounts, man. I just don't know, and it's hard to predict what that should be.
So is that implying he would take a pay cut, or Sporting KC has an amount of TAM that doesn't exist in order to buy him down from $2.5 million?
I don't think they have a lot of the various AMs. Are they just down to one now?
TAM and Jam? Does Jam not exist? Gam? Sorry.
I think they were blurring the line on some of them, but I could be wrong, man. I'd have to go back and double check the rules again.
It all depends.
It doesn't matter.
What Miami wants,
I was gonna say they're gonna make something new up for Miami, so we'll just wait a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But do you guys really think Pulido's ego and his agent's ego could take less than DP status?
Probably less likely.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's getting offered from Mexico, man. I mean, and again, we don't know how much any talk about Pulido and going to sign in Mexico has to be caveated with there is often a lot of BS reports coming out of there.
Yeah.
And if I get a text message from an agent saying, hey, player X is trying to leave or sign, or players are asking for trades or some shit like that, I'm taking that with a huge grain of salt and not just reporting it. I would do some digging, and if I felt like it was accurate, then I would say that it came from a source that I have some questions about, something like that. But some people don't have any ethics or morals about that. And it's ridiculous. You will have agents that are trying to spread stuff in order to try to boost salaries.
Sure.
And it's their job, but at the same time, it's not our job to help them boost their player's salary. It's our job to try to tell the truth.
And Polito last week isn't necessarily doing any favors for saying he wants to stay here. It's just his response at the moment was kind of just like, I'm letting my representatives do their thing, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
Right. Yeah.
But he has in the past been, when he asked, if he'd like to stay, he would say yes. Would he like to go to Chivas? He'd say yes. I mean, he's going to say yes to everything, because why limit yourself by saying, no, I don't want to go there, and then they would have offered you a good contract, But you still have to remember, as far as I know, Chivas still owes him money. There's still a lawsuit for that. I know Cruz Azul has entered the chat. I think other teams have entered the chat by reports. I don't know how real any of them are until they actually happen, man. If he goes back to Mexico at the end of the season, I'm not going to be crying about it. If he stays, I'm not going to be crying about it. In fact, I might be kind of happy.
Okay.
That was a very definitive statement, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Well done with that. My pause there, it just sucks. I know I've said it. We're in just such a bad situation. Like I said, I do want to sign him again, and it's just, you're just biting the bullet on knowing you got a guy that may very well get injured. We're just kind of, at this point, we should just hope he can survive the rest of the season, right?
Yeah, but that's any DP, man. That's the problem with the MLS system, is you could invest a lot of money in 1, 2, 3 guys, 1 or 2 injuries, man, and all of a sudden you're out of a major portion of your talent, which is why Vermes has been successful spreading the money around more, but it also means that there isn't quite the high talent level when everybody's healthy.
Okay. Looking around the league, some notable results this weekend. DC United thrashed Supporter Shield leading FC Cincinnati. Not really sure how that happened. I watched the MLS recap on it, but I guess they just... Yeah, you're gonna have to click off sometimes, I guess, or it was a Wayne Rooney masterclass in coaching. I love chubby Wayne Rooney on the sideline. By the way, that's one of my favorite things of MLS right now. There was a Red Bull New York 4-0 over Atlanta. Love to see Atlanta struggling this season so far. No midweek matches. I guess I was looking at the calendar. I thought this was a week where we were off and other people were going to make up that game in hand, but I think that starts the week after the 4th of July, I think, is when some other teams start to make those games up. This weekend, Vancouver, another shot at Vancouver. It was a 1-1 draw beginning of June. I will miss this weekend. I'm going to be at the lake for the 4th. But it sucks. There's never a dull moment with Vanni Sartini, the head coach there, and I would love to be in the press conference.
And who did they beat this past weekend? LAFC at home, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah, they needed a knock down a peg after a couple games there.
I think Sartini made the claim that they might be the best team in the league right now, Vancouver.
Dude, he is a character. I love it. It sucks I'm going to miss that press conference. Will you guys be at the game this weekend?
I will be, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a rare game that I miss, but it does happen.
Yeah, so I'll be at the lake. I guess I'm realizing podcast schedule next week might be kind of messed up because of that, or I can maybe record from on the water.
Yeah, you could start a StreamYard and just kind of let it sit there and show the water, and we'll talk.
There you go. Better than my normal contribution anyway.
Just be clothed, Cody. That would be good.
Well, see, then now it's definitely not going to work out.
You had to go there, Robert.
I said lake weekend, man. All right, boys. The media game is coming up July 12th. Don't miss that one. You can see us studs up tackling each other. The deadline for to submit hasn't even passed yet, so we don't have teams or any of that. But
it passed. It was Friday.
Oh, okay. So
did you submit?
it's coming up. Yes, I did.
Darn.
Has just been sent off. Some point of strong and long gone soft. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking.